I actually got cast in this sort of nighttime soap opera. And I called my mom and I said, guess what? I got this part. And she's like, oh, it's too bad you're going to have to turn that down.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Coley, and welcome to Scene on the Screen, brought to you by Make It Universal and Rotten Tomatoes, where we talk movies with some of the people behind the scenes at NBCUniversal. When entertainment works best, sometimes it opens a window into a world we've never imagined. Other times it shows us a mirror image of our lives with a heightened sense of home. Today we're going to dig into the question, what have you seen on the screen that has done that? My guest today is Liz Jenkins. Liz, welcome to Scene on the Screen podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, who are you? What do you do at NBC Universal? And walk us through what is your day-to-day.
I'm Liz Jenkins. I am the Chief Business Officer of the NBCUniversal Studio Group. It rolls off the tongue. But no, I'm actually pretty new to NBCU. I've been here for about 7.5 months. Though I like to joke, it's a bit of a homecoming. My very first college internship was at NBC. Know you at the time. It was on the old sort of Burbank Studios lot. And then my second internship was actually at 30 Rock. So this is like 1997.
So is it a Page
program? There's no need to date myself.
No need to date.
Yeah.
The Page program, I'm guessing?
No. This was just like a college internship that I had. Yeah,
Wow.
you know, I loved movies and TV shows, and you all had some of my favorites back then. So no, it feels like a bit of a homecoming for me.
I love that. Well, this is an answer that you, unlike some of the folks we've had who've been here for a while, they're like thinking back, like, what did bring me here? So what brought you to NBC Universal besides your love of television and film and making storytelling?
Yeah, you know, I had spent probably the last 15 years of my career in the entertainment industry, but more sort of on the independent, early stage company side. So really high growth entrepreneurial businesses. I was at a company called Media Rights Capital, MRC Studios, studio behind like TED and House of Cards, others, for a long time. I was most recently at Hello Sunshine, Reese Witherspoon's
production company. Yeah.
And I was the COO there. So, you know, for me, a couple things that brought me to NBCU. I think one, just sort of the new challenge and growth opportunity of going from some of these smaller companies to, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this. And, you know, just it's a tough time in our industry right now for lots of reasons, lots of headwinds. But it's still a really exciting time to be in it. And like in that sort of period of disruption, there's lots of opportunity, especially for companies that are sort of in really great shape and have the type of leadership that we do. So I thought there's no better place to be than this. And, you know, when Donald Langley calls and offers you a job, it's, you know.
It's a pretty easy.
Yeah, it's like run, don't walk.
I think her title is switched because now it's like chairman of Universal Studios and content. Is that right?
Yeah, she's the chairman of the NBC Universal Studios Group and the chief content officer for the company.
Titles. Listen,
yes.
Nice lady to be working for. I will say this, I'll have to ask you this, I should say, because I think it's interesting that you did what I think a lot of creative folks' parents wish they did, which is that you still stayed on the business side, because you can at least talk to your mom about Excel spreadsheets and P&Ls, and she might understand that, but you're still playing in this entertainment role. So I'm curious, does the family, like, did they know this is what you wanted to do? Because I'm really feeling like you're able to fill your creative juices while not getting your parents crazy sad that you're like, I'm going to go make movies.
No, it's really funny you asked me that question because, you know, my mom, and let it be said, my mother has a bachelor's and master's in theater.
Wow.
She is a lawyer, but that's where she started. And I was a theater kid growing up, did tons of musical theater. And in college, I think it was my freshman year, I actually got cast in this sort of nighttime soap opera that the Stanford TV network was doing. I was so excited, was one of the leads. This is like height of Melrose Place days. And so everybody, you know, nighttime soaps were the thing. And I called my mom and I said, guess what? I got this part. And she's like, oh, it's too bad you're going to have to turn that down. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? She's like, well, you know, there's no acting in college, Elizabeth, you know? Wow. And so it was sort of like, you know, we had this negotiation. She said, you can do like one drama class and that's it. Said, otherwise, you know, wait till you got a job, you got a career. She wanted me to be an engineer, actually. And then you can do community theater on the side. like, needless to say, I have never had a job that would afford me the time to
Seriously.
do that. So I don't know. I guess kind of the pragmatic Liz like won out. And I did, briefly contemplate, a career as an actress, but figured, you know what, I'm going to do something. I love Monopoly as a kid growing up too. Good with numbers. Like maybe I can combine both of those things.
Look, we need numbers, people. The industry doesn't survive without at least somebody keeping mindful of the budget, because creatives are not.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to make the pretty thing.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you also as well, since you've gotten to work at other places prior to NBC Universal, but also your time here, you get to be a part of the creative process from a lot of the different angles, but probably are more intimate with it than a lot of other people. So I'm curious, what is a great day for you? What is a day that feels like, wow, we really did something? That was something I'm going to be proud of long after I leave this particular job or this project.
That's a great question. I'm going to answer it in two ways. I think one, to the note about like business and creative or sort of numbers and like creativity. I mean, I think it's so important. I've always thought it was a critical part of my job that even though I kind of sit on this side of the business, I need to understand and be able to talk to and appreciate, all the like incredible talent partners that we work with, because that's the lifeblood of this company, right? And so if I walk in and I'm like beep, bop, beep, like spreadsheets, numbers, like EBITDA, profit, that's not gonna resonate. And so I find like any role that we have, no matter what it is that we're doing, the more we know about and understand those that we come into contact with and can work in like a really integrated way with like mutual understanding, mutual respect, et cetera, it makes us better at what we do. So that's always been a really important part of my job. And it's the fun part too, I'll say watching cuts is a lot more fun than spending time like in Excel spreadsheets and, on these conference calls. So for me, look, I think a great day is just being able to kind of be in it with the folks throughout the organization, that every single person, and again, an organization of this size, getting stuff done in what we see on screen, what we see at home on our televisions. There are armies of people every day showing up to get it done, making, decisions from the very biggest to the very smallest. So to be a part of seeing kind of even some of the littler things at work is just, it's really exciting. And, my favorite day is when there's a problem that we solve, obviously like production is tough. And when we encounter those sort of like those really
little
tough decisions.
Thing called COVID.
Exactly. It's like, how do we say yes? How do we make this thing happen to sit at a table and be a part of like enabling that is just incredibly gratifying.
Yeah. I feel like every day it's like a project management on a level that people cannot understand, but every day there's a new, like, we've got to fix this or we've got to find out about this. Yeah. So for today, I think the main thing we're going to do is dive into some films that you've seen on the screen and sort of get you to tell what about them sort of made you, want to do this job, what makes you love these movies, what resonates with you about them. And we're going to do this via quotes. So this first popcorn bucket here, I'm going to give you a quote. Hopefully this is a film that you remember, but even if it isn't, I know because I've got it right here on my card.
All right.
And you can just tell us, what's your relationship with it? Even though some of you are pretty thin, you all have fat hearts, and that's what matters.
Yes, of course. Pitch Perfect, yes. Rebel Wilson.
Yes. And we're gonna say it because she named it. It's Fat Amy, right?
Yes, Fat Amy.
Amy. And I loved her quote when she's like, "Why do you call yourself that?" She's like, "So twig heifers like you don't do it for me."
Exactly.
I did dig that. So tell me about your story with Pitch Perfect.
It's one of those films that to me, it was surprising. It was original. It was, a little film that could to some degree, and I think it was one that resonated with so many audiences. I just, which is to me the best part of movie going, when like generations can come together and experience this thing. And God, I've seen that movie, I don't know how many times. My goddaughter, when she was 2, I think that must have been the time that it was on in the home entertainment window because we rented it at the house. And I think I even had video to her dancing, singing, like knowing could barely like string 3 words together, but knew like every single word of every song.
Thank you, Kids Bop.
Right? I don't know. It's just one of those favorites. And I think I still have a Spotify playlist that, you know, when I'm feeling a little down, I may crank that up a bit.
That's an instant make you happy playlist.
It
That's
is.
an instant make. What I love about this, fun fact about that one, Cynthia, who's in that, who's a very accomplished singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
She was in the first one, and her main thing was like, I want to get a song that I wrote in Pitch Perfect. And I think she got it by the second one because she wrote S&M by Rihanna, and they put that one in. It was in the first one. Yeah, she got it in the first one too. But like, I just think that's so cool is that this was not just because, you know, Anna's from Broadway, and like they really did assemble, I think, a lot of really great folks that really can sing and dance. And then they put them through like the boot camp to do it, which I loved. Skylar Austin, another Broadway kid. What up, Spring Awakening? I love my Broadway kids.
That was a good pull.
Yeah. I love my Broadway kids. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Oh, yeah. Easy. Batman.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Coming into the pale moonlight when he does that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that movie, I remember, I think that was like, I mean, definitely the first superhero movie that I saw and loved. I was probably, it gotta be like 6th grade, living in Memphis. I think I saw it 3 times in the movie theater. Owned it on VHS. I mean, and that one was like worn around like the edges. And I remember once being in like this writing lab class that we had in 7th grade by this point and saying like, I can recite the entire movie, you know? And someone, friend Olivia, didn't believe me. Bet me, I don't know, probably $5 that I could. I think I made it 25, 30 minutes into the movie before everyone said, please stop. We believe her. She knows it.
As I say, don't put me in my petty to prove a point. And then there's like,
exactly.
Now I will. That is a great one too, because that was showing, you know, I think the power of like, we had this genre of capes and that showed exactly how that could be different. It could be gritty and it could be dark. And like, that was really, I think like one of the first movies to really do it that way.
It was, and Michael Keaton was so unexpected in that role.
Mr. Mom.
Too, right? Exactly. And then he had that scene, I'm Batman, you know, just iconic.
Still is. Did you see him at the Oscars where he was just like,
oh yes, that's right.
Still could bring it. Absolutely could bring it. What I think is so interesting about Batman is it has such a distinct style, and it's like an envious type of like, instantly from like the opening credits, you're like, oh, I know what this world is, and I kind of want to get lost in it. And I think that kind of filmmaking, is that something that really attracts you, that sort of like diving into a world?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think there's something about, and it's why I love seeing movies in movie theaters. It's dark. You are completely immersed in this world for 2.5, 3 hours. You're transported away from like your couch and your laundry and all of those things, and you're just kind of locked in. One of my favorite memories was right after college. I'd been saying for a long time, love doing a double feature. And I'd said to one of my friends, I want to go to the movies all day. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I want to go at like first show, 11 a.m. and I want to see movies all day long. And I remember you have to kind of time it. There are only a couple times a year, summer and Christmas, where you can pull that off. And I remember it was December of 2000. I went, and this friend of mine joined me, and we saw movies all day long.
Wow.
And I saw 6 movies. I can still remember them and in order. And it just was, you know, it was a day of, I stayed in, was it the AMC Mercado 20 in San Jose, California? But I like traveled around the world, you know.
Do you remember which 6 movies it was?
Of course I do.
What were the 6 movies?
Started Chocolat.
Wow.
We then went to All the Pretty Horses, What Women Want, Miss Congeniality, Finding Forrester, and The Family Man.
Wow, that's a good day.
Right?
Those are all good movies.
All really good movies.
Well, that's amazing. I was meaning to ask you this before. I know we just put Pitch Perfect to bed. Are you planning when you're going to show your kid Pitch Perfect at all? Or is this one of those ones where you like let them find it on their own?
Oh, I am so excited. Like, he's 2.5. His first movie was, we took him to the Kung Fu Panda premiere.
Good one.
Which was incredible. The cutest part, it didn't even dawn on me. The lights go down. The music is really loud, the big screen, and it scared him. You know, it never dawned on me. I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, I guess as a little one, you're like, what is happening? But he loved it. I mean, I have a list like miles long of things. The Parent Trap, I can't wait to show him.
That's a
the
good
OG.
One. Yeah, with
Haley Mills and Haley Mills.
Parent Trap is a great one. Let's move on to our next quote. We could talk or not talk for hours and still find things to not talk about.
We both love soup. And snow peas. Best in Show.
Yes.
And Jennifer Coolidge.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, I mean, Christopher Guest, it is hard to like rank.
Well, for folks that don't know, this was a Christopher Guest mockumentary style about dogs. Yeah,
yes.
Dog shows.
Yes.
And it's very to camera, lots of improvisation, basically dive into this world of people that people probably don't know.
I mean, and his character, you know, my favorites. And it's like, I don't quote movies. I mean, other than like I'm Batman or, you know, I've kind of outgrown that phase. But this is one, you know, where I'm like, you know, all natural green pistachio nut.
I mean, but a lot of his movies are like that. Like anybody that does those like mockumentary style, like especially Christopher Guest, but even like something like This Is Spinal Tap, all of those ones, they all are very quotable. And I think it's because it's coming off the head. It's coming off like somebody's like stream of consciousness. And that's why like folks are really into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to move on to our second popcorn bucket here. And this is going to be trivia. So the ones that I have in here, it's going to be a sentence about a movie, a factoid, something, and you're going to just say, is it true or false?
Okay. This is a little stressful, by the way. I'm like,
don't
I can't get these wrong.
Because even if you get it wrong, we have the answers right here. Nobody cares. Right? Okay. The script for the 1992 film The Bodyguard was originally written for Whitney Houston in mind. True or false?
False?
False. It was not written with her in mind. Lawrence Kasdan wrote the script in 1975 for Diana Ross.
What?
It was shelved. I knew it was a Black woman, so that's why I was like, yeah. It was shelved for more than 15 years before Costner signed on to co-produce it and be the leading man. Fun fact also, it was Kevin Costner who suggested that Whitney sing a Dolly Parton cover of I Will Always Love You. So he was the one that was like, you should sing the song in it. The rest is mega hit history.
Yes.
Also, man, well, I don't know if you saw, obviously the late great Whitney Houston, but Kevin Costner, like that was the original Tony Goldwyn and Kerry Washington before Tony Goldwyn and Kerry Washington. Like those two had chemistry.
They did.
You know what I mean? Like they were the original ones where people were like, listen, I know y'all are good actors on screen, but we know.
And she was so good in that movie, in that role. She looked great. The music was incredible. Another soundtrack I owned and a movie. I think I saw that one in the theaters a couple times. It was really, really special.
Everyone talks about like, I Will Always Love You. The two things about that movie I remember is one, it very much illustrates what it's like to be a Black woman in an industry that doesn't always listen to you or hear what you have to say. But the other thing is Queen of the Night.
I was going to say Queen of the Night. I'm really tempted to sing it now, but I won't.
You can.
I won't. It's okay.
Gina Prince Bythewood changed the ending of the script of her first feature film, Love and Basketball, when the WNBA was formed in 1997. True or false?
I'm going to guess that that's true because I remember being surprised at the end of the movie and thinking, wait, isn't that a brand new thing, the WNBA? So I'm guessing it's true.
Yeah, I also love it is true. And they got Magic at a game because Magic was the co-owner of the Sparks. Gina originally wrote, when she originally wrote the script, the WNBA wasn't in existence. The story originally ended with their final one-on-one game, and that was it. It was just the idea that like hopefully they have a happily ever after. But
I mean, I could talk about that movie and Gina for ever. I mean, I just think what an incredible filmmaker. I mean, that movie was iconic. That soundtrack was iconic. The character and the agency that she had relative to sort of everything else of that like time, so unique, her story. And then the fact that Gina years later does The Old Guard. I'm like, a filmmaker to have both of those
in her repertoire. I think it was last year was the 25th anniversary and they did a Criterion Collection cover with it. And I believe Roxanne Gay did the intro for it. I don't think people appreciate like, even if that's the only movie she ever made, and it isn't, and it won't be, it means so much to people. Any athlete, any woman that's like had to compromise love for ambitions, all of that.
Yeah.
Love that one. All right, here we go. Last trivia question. In the movie Oppenheimer, there's a brief moment after the test where he has a vision of a woman disintegrating. For that part, Nolan cast his daughter, Flora. True or false?
That's true.
Listen, Christopher Nolan, sir. I mean, way to tug at the heartstrings, but really?
Yeah, that's true.
I imagine that day. Be like, okay, Flora, sweetie.
Got something for you.
I'm going to put you on camera for the first time. He's actually a very big family man. And I think that was something that actually got communicated throughout the run leading up to Best Picture was, I think Killian said it and Emily said it, like it's a family affair. And like they really are this beautiful sort of like love story of creative endeavor as well, you know, because Emma's his producing partner. How much did you get? Oppenheimer is coming right when you're joining practically,
I know,
right?
I timed it well, didn't I?
I mean, it's not bad to join the team when they're in the finals, right?
It's true. It's true. You know, one of the things that struck me so much, we had a leadership offsite for the film group as a town hall one afternoon. And one of the panels that we did was sort of the making of Oppenheimer. So it was fascinating. They had folks from, you know, domestic and international marketing, domestic and international distribution, from the creative teams, et cetera, just talking about sort of the experience of making, marketing, and distributing Oppenheimer from their perspective. And it just, for me, I mean, it was just striking, almost emotional to see kind of, again, like the almost like operatic coordination that's required to take, you know, a film from, you know,
a script
all the way to screen. And just, again, the number of people, the amount of coordination. And the fascinating thing to me is there were stories that they heard for the first time from each other.
Wow.
You know? So it's, look, they make it look easy, but it's not. I'm just so blown away by the team.
I think it's interesting in just the time that you've been working in entertainment. There's already been so many seismic shifts. Like I mentioned, COVID was definitely one, but just in general, our industry is going through a seismic shift right now. I tell people it feels almost like when the Hays Code went down in the 40s. Like we're approaching a moment where things are changing. How has it changed for you as an executive with your approach and maybe prior to you joining Universal versus now that you're working here?
Sure. It's a really great question. You know, I think one of the things I try to ask myself at least every year, if not more frequently, is sort of how do I need to show up to be successful? Like because our roles, companies constantly evolve, and especially having been really for the last 15 years in smaller companies where that evolution is happening really, really quickly. Like, how do I need to show up? What is it going to take? What does my team need? What does the company need? What do I need to let go of that may not be serving me as what served me really well then, but it may not serve me really well now? So it's something I think a lot about. But, you know, one of the things that I found, and it wasn't even intentional, it was sort of more like practical and a result of, you know, life, was during COVID. I really feel like there was sort of Liz as a leader before COVID and Liz after COVID, you know? And it was something that some of my team pointed out to me. I remember at the start of it thinking, gosh, to be a really great leader, what it's going to take is there's a lot of uncertainty. I need to be really cool in the pocket. I need people on my team to feel like, okay, this is a safe and stable place. Everything else is chaotic, but like, Liz has got it, you know, and I found was my attempt, but like, or my intention, but it wasn't actually, because practically speaking, it's like life sort of came crashing in. And I remember someone saying to me, gosh, who you are now just feels, or how you show up just feels so much more real. So before, I think I always showed up, you know, great dress, great makeup and hair and shoes and this and that. And during COVID, there were some days where I'm like, if I managed to grab 15 minutes to get on a Peloton, let's go and do it. And I came onto Zoom. I'm like, yeah, sorry, guys. Yeah, I did just get off like the bike. I'm sweating. This is who I am. And it's like life kind of came crashing in for all of us.
Yeah.
And so we had to kind of put, you know, the mask down to the side and just be.
I will say as a millennial, I found it to be completely refreshing because we didn't need a lot to get comfortable. We were ready to be comfortable already. And so I actually enjoyed seeing that shift a little bit from some of executives that have been working here longer. What do you find it now that you're on the other side of it? Are you comfortable in it? Because I've seen a lot of people go back as well. There have been people that are like, this doesn't fit for me.
Look, I think that, you know, I am dressed now and I didn't just come straight from the bike. So sure, I've picked some of that back up. But I think at the same time, what I've recognized, you like reference millennials, I think that are like culturally what is expected of us by our teams or what people need, I think has shifted a lot, right? And I don't think that sort of being this really kind of perfect automaton that people are sort of, I'm aspiring to be that. I don't think that that is the best way to show up, the best way to sort of motivate, engage, you know, one's team. And I just feel like showing up with authenticity is something that's really valued. Like, in saying, hey, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about growth. And I think if you don't show up that way, it all kind of falls a bit flat. It's that whole thing, the dynamic, I think, that's sort of at play now. When I was a kid, it was sort of, you want to be like someone. I want to be like Mike. I want to be this or that. And now I think younger generations, it's more like, I see how this person is like me, because I think they're used to seeing themselves reflected on whatever, social media, all of that. So I don't know that kind of setting oneself up as a paragon of like, this is what you should be aspiring to, I don't think it resonates anymore.
Being the trendsetter that she is, somebody who told me that very early, Donna Langley.
Really?
I did a talk with her for Tech Women. This was 6 years ago. And she said, trying to be it all, do it all, and achieve it all is a myth.
Yeah.
Find space for yourself, forgive yourself. And this was like 6 years ago. This is pre-COVID, and she was already sort of preaching that. But again, somebody who started as a line producer and works her way up to chairman of a studio, she would know.
She would.
Well, thank you for taking us in diving into the films that you've seen on the screen. And you've been a great sport. You've been excellent in this. And I know that it's, like you said, it's sometimes intimidating. Guess what? You get to push it back on me a little bit. Yeah.
Nice.
So we're going to dive into the world of Universal Pictures. This is, this actually pops open. So if you can pop open this globe, inside there are some films that it's just the title of the film. But what we want you to do is describe the film to me in 3 words. So like, for example, hat, cat, sword. That'd be Puss in Boots. Okay. Whatever you can think of. We're going to time it. We have some lovely folks back here that are doing our timer. They're going to buzz us out, and we're going to see how best we can do. I feel like your competitiveness right now, like you're literally like, I'm ready.
Well, celebrity is one of my favorite games. I got 3 words, not just one.
Oh, this is good. This is good. This is like password and then some. Password plus. All right.
Molly Ringwald birthday.
16 candles. Great.
Dinosaurs, dinosaurs, dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park. You can pass.
Borat in swimsuit.
Borat in swimsuit?
I guess it doesn't have to be a sentence.
Pass. I got nothing on that one. Borat in swimsuit? Like, what is... Yeah, I got
Green thong swimsuit.
Oh, it is Borat. Then, oh no, is that Bruno?
Yes.
I see.
Psychotic doll dancing.
Megan.
Oh, rom-drom time travel.
Oh. Is that About Time?
Yes. I was going to say it had the word time in it, so I don't know if that counts. Okay. Oh, acapella.
Oh, Pitch Perfect.
Green Ogre.
Shrek. We did good. How many did you get? I think you beat the record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6? Is that? Oh, no, I think 7. You got 7. Tied for the first one.
Ah! I'm like, can we go again?
No. This is why she runs entire verticals, ladies and gentlemen. This is why she's running things, because she's like, let's do it again. We can do better. That's the beauty of working here at Universal, because they're always trying to make it better. Here, I'll take that back from you.
Thank you.
Liz, thank you so much for taking us on a trip down your experiences, your career, both at NBCUniversal and prior. This was such a great time talking with you.
Oh, I had so much fun. Thank you for having me. I want to go home and watch 6 movies.
I love that. Thank you for being here.